The US Open draw has just been released, and we're taking a look at the women's side of the draw first because it's going to be interesting to see how it actually progresses. It doesn't really feel like there's too many crazy matchups, at least early on for the big names. But let's go look at the withdrawals first because we do have some names that have pulled out. So we've got some big names here pulling out. Jabeur, she's pulled out. Zhang also pulled out. Kovanic, she's also pulled out. And Badosa has also withdrawn from the event. So some big names there that are not going to be playing at this year's US Open. But let's go to the top of the draw because we do have plenty of good players still playing. All right, top of the draw, of course, we've got 32 seeds in this one, and nobody gets a bye in the first round. Sabalenka, number 1 seed, defending champion. She's taking on Masarova in the first round. Winner of that match will take on either Diaz or Kudermetova in the second round. Then you got Giacomo taking on Buzkova. Winner of that will take on either a qualifier or the number 31 seed Fernandez in the second round. Then you got the number 19 seed Mertens taking on Anne. Winner of that will take on either Sun or Osorio in the second round. Then you got Buksha taking on a qualifier. Winner of that match will take on the winner of Eala versus the number 15 seed Towson. So, blockbuster first round, that one. Eala versus Towson. Towson's been really good. Of course, Eala has had great moments this year, so really interested to see that one play out. But of course, you've got to watch out for Sabalenka, defending champion. Lost to Rybakina last week in Cincinnati, but still a very good run to get to that stage. Obviously, got to watch out for Towson as well. Been very, very good. And beating Swiatek earlier in this American summer was really good as well, so definitely a danger there. Watch out for Fernandez. She did win in Washington to start the US Open Series, so she's feeling pretty good about herself. And also watch out for Eala, of course. If she does beat Towson, there's an opportunity she could go on a bit of a run like she did in Miami. All right, next part of the draw, we've got Rybakina, the number 9 seed. She takes on the wild card Perea in the first round. Winner of that will take on either Bronzetti or a qualifier in the second round. Then you got Raducanu taking on the qualifier. Winner of that match will take on another qualifier or the number 24 seed Kudermetova in the second round. Then you got Kessler, the 32nd seed, taking on Lynette. Winner of that will take on either a qualifier or Vondrousova in the second round. Then you got Sastovich versus Jovic. Winner of that will take on either another qualifier or the 7th seed Paolini in the second round. A lot of qualifiers in this section, but also a lot of dangerous unseeded players as well. And this is a pretty stacked section of the draw. Of course, you've got to watch out for Paolini. Just made the final of Cincinnati, losing a close one to Swiatek, so definitely feeling pretty good about herself on the hard courts recently. Also got to watch out for Rybakina, played really well in Cincinnati as well. Also got to watch out for Kessler, has been dangerous on the hard courts throughout the entire season, so definitely one to watch as well. Kudermetova as well, she just made the semis of Cincinnati, so in good form and feeling pretty good. And then the unseeded players, you got to watch out for Raducanu. It's the highest unseeded player in the draw, so definitely got to watch out for her. And Vondrousova as well. Very, very dangerous on all surfaces and could be very dangerous for Paolini, potentially in the third round. So could be really dangerous as well. So this is a pretty stacked section. Next part of the draw, we've got Pegula, number 4 seed, taking on Sharif. Winner of that will take on either Starabdubtseva or Blinkova in the second round. Then you've got Azarenka taking on a qualifier. Winner of that will take on either Pavlyuchenkova or the 30th seed Yastremska in the second round. Then you've got the 17th seed Samsonova taking on Yuan. Winner of that will take on either Jean or a qualifier in the second round. Then you've got Lee versus Strimkova. Winner of that will take on either another qualifier or the number 16 seed Bencic in the second round. This is a weird section. This feels like a little bit of an open section because Pegula hasn't been great the last couple of tournaments, and Bencic also, has a chance here, but also there's other players you could pick to maybe go on a run. Of course, you've got to watch out for Pegula in this section. Like I said, hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, considering this time last year, she had come into the US Open after 2 1,000 finals and winning one of those, so she's looking for some form and she needs to defend a lot of points here. Obviously, got to watch out for Bencic as well. Can be very good here, made the semi-finals a few years ago. And Samsonova can be very dangerous as well. But yeah, it's a weird section. This could be, you could get an unseeded player come through this section or one of the lower seeds because of Pegula not playing so well. So yeah, keep an eye on this section. It could be a bit random. Next part of the draw, we've got the number 10 seed Navarro taking on Wong in the first round. Winner of that match will take on either Teichmann or McNally, the wild card in the second round. Then you got Uchiyama versus Danilovic. Winner of that will take on either Krejcikova or the number 22 seed Mboko in the second round. Then you got the number 25 seed Ostapenko taking on a qualifier. Winner of that will take on either Townsend or Ruzic in the second round. Then you got Potapova taking on Zhu. Winner of that will take on either Parks or the number 5 seed Andreeva in the second round. Tough first round for Andreeva. Parks just beat Navarro last week, so Andreeva's really got to be on top form for the first match if she is going to progress, but very interesting draw. You got to watch out for Andreeva, of course. Also got to watch out for Navarro. Hasn't been playing great lately and has a lot of pressure making the semis here last year, so a lot of points on the line for her. Of course, you got to watch out for Mboko. After winning in Canada, she didn't play Cincinnati, so she's on a bit of a streak, and that first round against Krejcikova is going to be really fun. Also got to watch out for Ostapenko and Krejcikova, both very dangerous players and could go on a run and really could get out of this section because, you know, depending on Andreeva's fitness, this could be a bit open. Bottom half of the draw now, we've got Keys, the number 6 seed, taking on Zarazua. Winner of that will take on either Kvitova or Parry in the second round. Then you've got a qualifier versus Sonmez. Winner of that will take on either Bolter or the number 27 seed Kostyuk in the second round. Then you've got the number 21 seed Noskova taking on a qualifier. Winner of that will take on another qualifier or Lise in the second round. Then you've got Castello taking on Sierra. Winner of that will take on either Venus Williams, a wild card, who's taking on the number 11 seed Mukova in that first round. Another crazy first round matchup there. And a great opportunity for Venus because Mukova has been a little bit inconsistent and obviously the injuries have caused that, but very fun to see that first round matchup, and you know that's going to be a night match. Of course, you've got to watch for Keys in this section. US Open finalist a few years ago and has played well in America, so definitely got to watch out for her, and having won the Australian Open, we'll see how she can go at the final slam of the year. Got to watch out for Mukova as well, and Venus. You know, the winner of that match could go on a bit of a run. Again, this is a pretty fun section. It's definitely Keys' section to lose, but yeah, we could get some really fun matchups. Next part of the draw, we've got Kasatkina, the number 15 seed, taking on Ruse. Winner of that will take on either Rakhimova or Garcia in the second round. Then we've got Baptiste taking on Siniakova. Winner of that will take on either Minin or the number 23 seed Osaka in the second round. Then we've got the number 28 seed Frere taking on Gibson. Winner of that will take on either a qualifier or Stearns in the second round. Then we've got Vekic taking on Moniro. Winner of that will take on either Tomanovic or the number 3 seed Gauff in the second round. Very tricky start for Gauff in this tournament, especially if the confidence is still not there in her serve. Of course, she's got a new coach this week, so hopefully that will help her a little bit with some confidence. But you got to watch out for Gauff in this section. Also got to watch out for Osaka. We know how dangerous she's been. She made the final in Canada a couple weeks ago, and she has won this title a couple of times. You've also got to watch out for Kasatkina and Frere, but I think the big one is watching out for Garcia. It's her final Grand Slam of her career, so we'll see whether she can go on a bit of a run. And also, she did make the semis here a couple years ago, so definitely does know how to play on these courts. Next part of the draw, we've got Anisimova, the number 8 seed. She's taking on Burrell in the first round. Winner of that will take on either a qualifier or joint in the second round. Then we've got Collins taking on Christian. Winner of that will take on either Kruger or the number 26 seed Kennan in the second round. Then we've got the number 18 seed Adajmaya taking on Cartel. Winner of that will take on either Boisot or Golubic in the second round. Then you've got Sakari taking on Maria. Winner of that will take on either Bondare or the number 12 seed Svitolina in the second round. This is a fun section. Of course, you've got to watch over Anisimova. Coming in to a Grand Slam as a Wimbledon finalist, and especially her home slam, the expectations are going to be high on her to do well, so really keen to see how she does. Also got to watch out for Svitolina, has played well here in the past, and has a good record against Anisimova, so if they were to meet in the fourth round, she'd like her chances of winning that one. But also got to watch out for Collins and Sakari as the unseeded players. We know how good Collins is and how scary she is against everybody, but also Sakari seemed to have gotten a little bit of form over the last couple of months, or at least has some wins. And the bottom part of the draw, we've got the number 13 seed Alexandrova. She's taking on Sevastova in the first round. Winner of that will take on either Dollarhide or Wong in the second round. Then we've got Zakharova taking on Avanesian. Winner of that will take on either Sigamund or the number 20 seed Schneider in the second round. Then we've got the number 29 seed Kalinskaya taking on Ngannou in the first round. Winner of that will take on either Putintseva or Cocheredo in the second round. Then we've got Lemens taking on Glosman. Winner of that will take on either Arango or the number 2 seed Swiatek in the second round. So not an easy draw for Swiatek, just coming off the Cincinnati win, but, you know, I think if she avoids some of these players, it'll definitely feel like a much easier draw. If, like, one or two of these players lose, the draw will definitely open up and be a lot easier. But, of course, you've got to watch out for Swiatek. Has won this tournament before and is playing so well at the moment, so definitely got to watch out for her. Of course, you've got to watch out for Alexandrova, very, very dangerous player, especially if she plays Swiatek in the fourth round, could be a problem. She does have that game that does trouble Swiatek. Also, Kalinskaya in the third round. I know they did play a couple weeks ago. Kalinskaya wasn't 100%, so we know Kalinskaya at her best is very dangerous as well against Swiatek in particular. So there it is. That is the draw for the ladies. Let me know in the comments below who's going to win this tournament, because I don't know who has the worst draw. I mean, maybe Coco has the toughest draw, but then again, she is also not playing the best out of the top three, and she's, you know, has those serving problems, so maybe that's why. I mean, Swiatek might be the favorite going in, maybe, I don't know. I mean, her and Sabalenka have a pretty similar draw. They've both got a lot of tests. That's the women's draw. It starts on Sunday. We're starting a little bit earlier, and it's going to be really fun to see all those interesting first round matches as well.